Hello everyone, my name is Cam. I'm a certified dog nutritionist, and today we are going to be talking about your dog's poop. Yes, glorious, glorious poop. I've had hundreds and hundreds of conversations with dog owners, and I know how much they do actually worry about their dog's poo. Size, color, frequency, smell, all of those topics we're going to talk about in this video so we can help you determine whether or not your dog's poo is healthy and whether or not they need a dietary change to get their poo on the right scales. Poo is an amazing indicator of your dog's overall health and whether or not the diet that you've chosen for your dog is in fact healthy. To assess whether or not your dog's poo is healthy, we need to discuss the smell, the consistency, which we will use the Bristol stool indicator for to determine whether or not your dog's stool is a nice texture. Delicious, I know. Then we're going to talk about the color of the poo and the frequency. First off, poo does smell. All poop has a little stink to it. That is just a given. However, if your dog's poo smells nuclear, yes, really terrible, so much so that you're sort of, as you're going to pick it up, that is an indicator of a bacterial overgrowth, and a dietary change is really recommended. Bacterial overgrowth can be caused by an improper balance of macronutrients in the diet, so too many carbohydrates, too many gluten ingredients, and also a diet that lacks fresh foods. Those two things can cause an improper balance of bacteria. All dogs and humans have a gut microbiome, a balance of non-human cells that lives inside us. Now, a bacterial overgrowth can cause a lot of secondary issues. It makes us more susceptible to infections. It weakens our immune system. And it also puts our digestive system under stress. So that needs to be addressed through a dietary change, moving to more fresh foods with a more appropriate balance of macronutrients. Now for the consistency of the poo, using the Bristol stool scale. There are 7 different types of turds according to the Bristol stool scale. 1 to 2 indicates constipation. So if your dog does have a stool that looks similar to this, then you need to either increase the fiber in the diet, you need to reduce calcium if you're putting too much calcium in their food. That should also be indicated by a slightly white color. If you address those 2 issues and it's still the case that they're suffering from constipation, I would get in touch with your vet. Could be a more serious issue, or get in touch with me if you're looking for more help amending the diet. 3 to 4, this is your sweet spot dog turd. It is a normal consistency, normal viscosity, not too liquid, not too pellety, just a nice, healthy looking turd. We all know what they are, we've all had them before. That's the ideal. This is the ideal archetypal turd. Turds 5 to 7, these indicate that your dog has diarrhea. Now, this can be caused by a number of factors. Maybe you've put too much fiber in the diet, but most likely it's caused by inflammation of the gastrointestinal tract. Now, this can come from a variety of different things. Maybe your dog has a food sensitivity, an inability to digest a certain food, causing the gut to become inflamed, and therefore the transport of food is rushed through to get that indigestible food out of the system. It can also be caused again by inflammation caused by an improper diet. If the digestive system isn't being used in a natural, appropriate manner, if it isn't digesting the things it's supposed to, fresh foods in the right balance, then it's going to become inflamed. Inflamed guts rush food through, it comes out in an explosive manner. So you really need to adjust the diet appropriately, maybe work out a specific diet for your dog if you think they're suffering from a food sensitivity, which I can help you with. Go to my website, look up the digestive plan. We can work out a diet that works for your dog. If you think it may be a dry or wet tin processed food, which is a more unnatural diet for a dog, causing the system to become inflamed because it's being used unnaturally, then moving to a fresh food diet will fix that issue. You will need to transition your dog onto a fresh food diet, and I will link a video of how to do that at the end of this. And if you need the recipes, I have them in my guide in the link in the description. That's the formation of poos, the ideal form obviously being poos 3 to 4, the archetypal turd. Now we are moving on to the colour of your dog's poo. This also is another fantastic indicator of whether or not the diet you've picked for your dog is working for them. First off, we're going to start with really the perfect colour poo. It is a brown, dark brown poo that indicates red blood cells, a healthy pigment that's being excreted out through your dog's gut. That is a normal, healthy poo. Then we move on to the less healthy, dark to blackish poos. That is an indication of inflammation along the gut, most likely caused by a food intolerance from my experience, but it can also be caused, of course, by an unnatural diet. Dry or wet in processed foods that are not necessarily supposed to be in your dog's digestive system every single day cause inflammation, because that is not how their gut has evolved to be used. Not to be confused with the dark blackish stools is a dark green stool. This is more frequently caused by excessive plant-based foods in your dog's diet. You know, too much spinach, too much kale, that can cause more dark green stools. If you're using too many plant-based foods, which I would consider to be over 30% of their overall food, I think the sweet spot really, having worked with hundreds of dogs, is around 20 to 10% of their overall diet. So try and reduce that slightly and you should see a move to a more browner, perfect coloured poop. Having too many plant-based foods isn't necessarily dangerous, but it can mean that they are missing out on more of the other foods that they need. So more protein from a more bioavailable source like meat. Moving on to red poos, more reddish poos. This can indicate gastrointestinal bleeding, inflammation along the gastrointestinal tract, and this needs to be resolved immediately through a dietary change. However, if you've fed your dog beetroot in the last 24 hours, that can also be the cause. So if it isn't beetroot, change the diet immediately and get in touch, because it could be an issue that takes a bit of a process to resolve. Orange poops. Orange poops indicate that your dog has either been eating a food which contains beta carotene, that orange pigment that you find in sweet potato, carrots and butternut squash. Nothing necessarily to worry about. However, if you then take these out and it's still that more yellowy color, which we're going to go on to next, then that would indicate some malabsorption. Yellow poos, yellow sort of slimy poos indicate a lack of enzymes to digest the foods that your dog is digesting, and that is called malabsorption. Yellow poos are a really a worrying indicator that in fact your dog's diet is really not working and not appropriate. If this is the case, that your dog has a yellow poo, please move to a fresh food diet. I know from experience that yellow poos are caused by dry food diets which have an improper balance of macronutrients, too many carbohydrates, gluten-based carbs. This causes irritation, malabsorption, and dogs don't have the enzymes to digest these foods. Finally, we go on to the white stool. The white poo, the holy stool. White stools can be caused by one of two reasons. Number one, too much calcium. Raw feeders will have seen frequently when their dog eats a big raw meaty bone, eats the bone, that their dog's poo is white because it's excreting the excess calcium that they haven't absorbed. Now that is fine and perfectly healthy, but you do not want that on a regular basis. That would indicate too much calcium, and that could cause an issue like urinary infections and things like that. So make sure you're getting the balance of bone to meat right in your dog's diet, and that should reduce the frequency of white stools to a healthy level. White stools can also indicate a lack of bile, which is produced by the gallbladder, it's excreted by the liver. Bile is really important because it gets rid of those toxins that are extracted from the food by the liver, and those need to be removed, and bile removes those toxins. So That's very much an issue rooted in improper digestion caused by improper diet. So move to a fresh food diet if you can. If your dog is slightly older, that could indicate some liver problems and you really want to get those checked out. Speak to your veterinarian. Also, I'd recommend getting some milk thistle extract that has been shown in research to support the liver, get rid of these toxins. So that's some dietary support from a natural source that you can implement, which should help get your dog's stools back to a normal level because you're aiding the digestion through diet. Finally, we go on to frequency. The ideal amount of stools for a dog to be pooping out in a day is around 2 to 4. Any less than that, if it's only around 1 stool a day, that would indicate some constipation. Any more than 4 times a day, that indicates a gut which is slightly inflamed, rushing that food through, trying to get it out, and that can have secondary effects like the malabsorption of nutrients, which means your dog's not getting what they need from their diet. Again, moving to a fresh food diet is of primary importance to get diarrhea sorted. Then, if there's still an issue, you need to work out a specific diet for your dog, a specific fresh food diet. If you need help with that, please do get in touch. Dog owner, future dog owner, this has been the last video in the dog nutrition series. I want to thank you so much for finishing it, watching it. Not just from me, but on behalf of your dog. You've put your best foot forward when it comes to dog ownership, the best you can do. You've embraced what it is to be a dog owner. The essence of dog ownership is to improve and learn and better yourself for your dog. You are officially a dog nut. So welcome to the pack. Thank you for watching. If you missed any of the other videos, go back. It's all on a playlist. Check out the ones you haven't watched. And yeah, again, thanks.